Hello and welcome back. This is the Clay Golem. This is Foundry VTT, and in this video we're looking at a brand new mod from Gambit, which is Gambit's Asset Previewer, which you already know because you've seen it on the thumbnail and it's there in the middle of the screen. So yeah, Gambit's been busy. Not only lots of improvements and changes and additional effects for the FX Master mod, but this new one. So this is what we're going to look at today. It literally is just hit. So this is kind of like my first real using of it. Let me show you what it does. Now, I mean, you've probably got a pretty good idea. It's the only mod I've got installed. You just saw that. On the left hand side here where I've got my as long as I'm on my token controls, I have this extra little image icon down here for Gambit's Asset Previewer, or G.A.P if we like to call it. Now what does this do? This allows us to really easily find and share our assets with our players. So you can see this interface here. It's currently completely empty. I can search for stuff, I can refresh, so you see that no assets were found. I can add folders, which is why I've got no assets, because I've not got any folders added. Multiple selection of stuff, and I can search by different groups and stuff. Let's actually get on with it and then you'll see what I mean. So if I go, first of all, I want to add a custom directory. So I get a little pop-up here and I can go to add directories. Now straight away I've got some options here. I can call it a name, a friendly name. So let's call it, ignore the fact that that's popping up from my testing. I'm going to call this player tokens. Then I can put in a folder, but I'm gonna browse to the folder rather than typing that in because that's boring. And I can set what type this is, and this is actually going to be tokens. And this is about searching and sorting rather than anything else. Ignore this flat bit. We're going to come back to that. I'm going to now go to my folders, and I'm going to search, and I'm going to go straight to my player portraits folder, and I'm going to select that folder, and I'm going to save. Now immediately, very fast, it is pointing at that folder and it is bringing up all of the images that I have within that folder so that we can see, you know, what they are. My player tokens are immediately here. Now chances are you won't do that with player tokens because they're already attached to them, but you might do with NPCs and stuff. We'll get to that. Now with each of these I can click on them and get my expanded, and of course I can show it to all players. So that's all quite normal, but this is much faster. And we can do a lot more with it beyond that, which makes it really cool. I can click on details here, and as you can see, this is in player tokens. I've got the name of the actual file, where to find it, the fact that this is currently down as being a token, but I can change it. Really cool. I can add tags. So I could just call this PCs. I want to capitalize that P. PCs. Okay, I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to save that. I didn't add the tag. Add the tag, there we go, and you can see that we've got that tag on here now. So I can tag this with multiple different things if I want to. Now there's a shortcut to that. I can just right click and it brings that straight up. Makes it much easier for me to tag my items if I want to do that. So let's bring in a Lorelei there as well. So note now that I've got some items in here, we can start to look at some of the filtering for this. At the top here you can see that it's currently on images. I can select videos. I haven't added any videos, or rather I haven't pointed to any videos, and I can do audio as well. When I'm on images, it's going to show me all of the things that are images that are in those files that I wanted, but I used some tags, didn't I? There's that PCs tag. If I click on that, it's going to filter that to show me only the 3 that I actually tagged, rather than looking at everything. So suddenly, if we're going to tag stuff, it's going to be much easier. Let me show you a better example, as I'm going to add a new directory. I'm going to go to it and I'm going to go into my modules. I'm going to go into Recursive Strad, and in Recursive Strad I'm going to go to my tiles. There's lots in here. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to pick this, and I'm going to give this I'm just going to call this assets handouts, because that's going to make my life easier as we go along. I'm going to copy and paste that because I'm lazy. And I can save changes. I've now got tons of stuff showing in here, lots of stuff that I'm not going to necessarily want to quick access. But going through this, I can go, right, Carnival of Wonders, that's a handout. I can add a tag to that. Brilliant. Scroll through, what else is a handout? That's a handout. I can stick that on there, add that tag, easy peasy. Now this means I don't have to reorder how I've got my files stored or anything like. There's a handout. Let's just do one more. So it's defaulting to show me everything, of course. Let's do this one as a handout. There we go. So now when I'm looking for stuff, if I want to see PCs, I can click PCs. If I want to see handouts, there's those 4 handouts. Really easy. I can click on this one. There we go. There's a copy of the handout. I can check it. I can show it to my players, whatever I want to do with any of these. Nice and easy to be able to hand out. Literally just pop them up. Find them really, really simple. Now, if I try to look for handouts and PCs, there aren't any. I haven't got any assets that are tagged as handout and as PC. So what that means you can do, if you've got lots of handouts, you can tag them with the chapter or the scene as well as with handout. So you can then go, right, show me all the handouts and now filter them by, for example, the ones they find in the death house, the ones they find, wherever you want to do. So that is really, really cool. Makes it really easy to find that. Otherwise it's a pain, isn't it? It's just a pain. Now, I do have some of these things in journals in the module, so they're findable. But again, then you've got to go through the journal. If you've tagged things nice and easily, really, really cool, really easy to find. So I love that, if only from that aspect, is the fact that it's, a little bit of setup like anything. But once you're organized, that's it. Really, really easy to do. Now, there is more. So I'm going to add another folder on here. And if you watch, I'm going to go to modules. I'm going to find my Curse of Strahd module. I'm going to go into packs and I'm going to select scenes. Now, I'm not going any deeper than that. I'm just going to do this one and we're going to bring that in. And of course, it's now added all my scenes in. Now, if I look at some of these scenes that are really big, you can actually, well, I can't because this one's resized for me. But if the scene is too big for the player, when you shared it with them, they can pan and move the image around as needed. So they can scan around it. If you've got a particularly large map, it'll probably work with one of the, well, let's show another feature, this top one up here. If I can type into here, you will see that that is automatically searching for anything that has cast in it. For example, castle. So I can very quickly actually find what I need. Now again, on my one, this is nice and big. If I make this a bit smaller, you can see now that players and stuff, if they've got a different size screen, just by holding left mouse button, they can zoom in, they can pan around, or whatever we want them to do on that. So that is really, really nifty. Because I've got a nice big screen, I can make it nice and large, it will fit on mine, no drama, but I can still zoom in if I need to do that on any of those, which is really, 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 really nice. Let's clear that search and you'll see that that picks that up, and I can go back to my handouts. Give me my handout. Oh, hello, it doesn't want to do my handouts. That's interesting. I will let Gambit know. And like I say, it's brand new released. It's because I've been messing with it. I've not got something open in the background. I can almost guarantee that if I doesn't want to do it. If I close it, reopen it, it's going to work beautifully. So I'll just let him know that there's something there that's not quite refreshing. I mean, it's a tiny little thing. The chances are you're not going to be staying in it for ages. You're going to find what you want and hand it out. But even with these, if I want to zoom in with these, I can. So any of these images, I can zoom in and out. And like I say, if they don't fit on the screen, or in the whole thing, they can, you know, you can zoom right in and then scroll around, etc. as you want to. So that's really, really cool because your players can do that too. So if you want to give them a map that's quite detailed and give it to them in this way, they can scroll and work their way through it. I mean, obviously that will work with any of these images, you know, so we can zoom in on Gray's eye here if that's what we want to do. A little bit weird. Don't know why you do that. I'm recovering from a cold at the moment, and it's been a very busy time at work and my voice is almost gone, so apologies if I'm a bit scratchy today. And also for the lack of videos the past couple of weeks. It's all been part of that and recovery. Okay, so we've only looked at images here. Now there's another thing that I want to show you by going into here. In this one, I'm going to delete this one. And you'll see that that automatically is updated. In fact, actually, let's delete all of them. Okay, so we're going to go back to blank. Now, again, this hasn't updated. If I come out and go back in, there we go. So it's updated. It updated for when I take one off. If I remove them all, it doesn't. But what is the chances you're ever going to do that? Probably not. I will let Gambit know that, just so he knows that, again, that's just a refresh thing. I suspect that's really easy for him to just tweak to make sure that that happens. Slightly better user experience. But again, they are edge cases, right? You know, how often are you going to be doing that? Okay, so if I add a new folder and go to a directory, okay, and I go to my modules and I select Recursive Strad, I'm not going to my tokens folder, my scenes folder, or my tiles folder. So flat in that folder, and I'm going to add this. It's not finding anything because there's nothing in that folder. This flat thing, I'm hovering over it. You can see under my rather large yellow mouse thing to make it easy for you to see where I am. So toggle between flat, this folder only, and recursive, this folder and subfolders. So if I go to recursive, save changes, there's everything. So that is bringing in my scenes. That is bringing in, if I scroll down, we'll find some. It's bringing in my scene tiles. Just everything is coming in there. Some of these are just normal tiles. Everything is coming in. There's my NPCs that are all coming in as well. My monster tokens and treasures, and it's bringing in the whole lot. So that makes it really cool, because I've now got every item, token, etc. that I've used in Recursive Strad is all in one folder. So now I can go through and tag that if I want to. So I don't have to add multiple folders. I can just add the high folder, say recursive, it will pick up everything underneath, if that's what I want to do. Depends how you want to organize it, but I think that is really awesome. I'm going to get rid of that again. I'm going to add a different directory to show you something slightly different. I'm going to go to my modules, and this time I'm going to pick JB2A. So we're going to pick JB2A. I'm going to do select folder. I'm going to do recursive, so it's going to dig down into those folders. I haven't actually changed any of these. I've just left that as it is. That's fine. Let's save this. Notice it's scanning assets. Now this is taking a few moments because JB2A Patreon is a big lot of files. So it's automatically scanned all those for me. I don't need to get it to refresh it because it will do it automatically. But if you find something's missing, refresh will do. Now this is absolutely everything. So what have we got in here? We've got, if I click on images, that's giving me all of these images are in here now. I was expecting to see some in the videos, but and I haven't got any in sound. That might be because I've just pulled everything in as one go. But you can see I've got all of those JB2A things that I wanted to see. I can click on them, I can zoom in just like anything else. Now, of course, a lot of these things like JB2A, your chances are you're not going to want to just show an image of it. It's much more likely to be handouts and things like that. Let me see if I can get this to work the way I wanted it to. Was it scenes or something like that? I'm sure assets worked okay. Maybe it just needs, again, let's just pop out and pop back in again. And let's see what's in. Did I delete the custom dictionary? No, I didn't. Okay, let's repopulate that, please. Rescan it. Okay, I've broken it. No, there it is. Impatient. That's all that was. Me being impatient. Now, if we want to make sure we're bringing in videos and stuff, we absolutely can do that. So if I change this folder and we can go into the, is it the library? And I can select like first level spells, for example. If I, let's do that and bring that down a bit. I am fairly sure. I'm fairly sure that's the folder with the animated bits in. Is it because I've got it as assets rather than something like scenes? Might be. Again, oh yeah, there it is. It's my fault. Of course it's my fault. It would be. So rather than that being assets, yeah, changing it to scene stuff, you can see that that has now pulled in from that one folder any of the image files in that folder. But also any animations. And you're seeing already that as soon as I hover over these, they're playing. So I am able to see if that's the right animation I want before I click on it, before I share it. So is it that one I want? Is it that one I want? Now, why for me, why is this particularly exciting? Because I'm nerd. No, when I am working out the automations I want to work on particular spells and things, going through the sequencer database to pick all these things up, it's not necessarily the easiest to do it. This is so much quicker to be able to go through JB2A and go, right, is that the one I want? You know, which of these do I want? Do I like the look of? Is it that one that's the loop? You know, do I like that? Do I like that? Oh no, the blue one looks cool. I'll go with the blue one. It's so much easier and quicker. So we've got two blue ones. We've got that one. And then we've got this one, which is constant. So really, really easy to do that. Now, of course, if I click on these, this opens it up further. I can show my players to that. And just like anything else, I absolutely can tag it. Now, note, this says that this map, well, it's not a map, it's a tile, is from the JB2A patron collection, but the module isn't currently enabled because I turned it off. So it's just pulling from that, which is fine, but I would want to enable that, of course. So generic scene will be created, enable the module to allow importing of it properly. Okay, so I haven't got that module on there, and kind of dragging it and stuff like that won't really work. But I can show it to my players like this. I know you can't see it because we're not logged in as players, but we absolutely can do that. And I can also put it as a picture-in-picture if I wish to down there. So that is, I find that really, really cool to be able to do that if I want to. Now, talking about the fact it said the JB2A is not installed, one thing that you need to just be aware of and know is this automatically integrates with a number of different map makers. So G.A.P, I can't remember off the top of my head the list. I should have written it all down. But it will automatically pick up from a lot of those map makers already and bring your scenes in, so you don't need to do all the navigation and everything like that. Now, I don't have any of those because I'm weird, and why am I not using those amazing assets that other people have already put together? It tends to be because I struggle to find struggle to find maps that are consistent theme for the entire adventure I want to build. So I either build my own or I go specifically to those. But if you've got any of those, if you're linked to Mad Cartographer or something like that, and you're already you know, a member of those and you're pulling those stuff in, it will do that for you. It will talk to it, which is fantastic. Let's change this folder and let's go up a level for it and select this one. So now we should be bringing in an awful lot more than just the one I said. We might need to refresh. It might take a while, but this now should be bringing in, yeah, here we go. Tons and tons and tons of them. And we saw those already, but also bringing in all of the animations for all of these different things as well, because that recursive folder thing. Now, of course, JB2A, as I mentioned, it's huge. There's a lot of assets, especially when you're looking at the animation stuff. Depending on your machine and everything, it might be a little bit slow to bring stuff in. It has nothing to do with Gambit. It's just purely to do with the amount of files and the file sizes you're bringing in. You see, mine populates pretty darn quick, but it might take a while for it to do that. But again, remember that you can tag these, tag your favorite ones, etc. You can use this as a really good reference to know which one it's right. Okay, so it's Abjuration 01 green circle is the one that I want for that spell. That's the one I really like the look of. Now the last tab on here we haven't looked at, which is audio. So let's add a folder that I know has some audio in it. So again, I'm going to go to modules. I'm going to go to Recursive Strad. I'm going to go to my packs and I'm going to select my sounds folder. I don't need to go any deeper, but of course I can. And I can save the changes on that. And what have I done now? I've left it as asset. Let's change it to audio, shall we? Idiot. So, obviously there's nothing to look at with audio files, but you can see they're all in here. Now, just like with the animations, if I just hover over it, you get a preview of the sound. There's my clock ticking sound that I use from Recursive Strad. Creaky floorboards. Loud thunder. All of these things, they're right here. Again, I can click on them so that I can actually play them if I want to. I can go into details so that I can add tags and stuff, but I can create playlists directly from here. So if you're one of those people who, and this is not, I'm not judging you, by the way. If you're one of those people who has one folder chucked full of all of your token assets, all of your sound assets, and you haven't broken it down into folders, and I'm not suggesting you should, I'm just, if that's the way you choose to work, this is a really good way for you to be able to create a playlist directly from here and be able to see all of your assets in one place, which is really, really cool. I tend to try and break my... Stop it. I tend to try and break my folders down into logical parts so it's easier for me to navigate, bearing in mind that I've set that up without having Gambit's asset previewer and the ability to tag. So that's pretty much it, but that's what it is like today. And when I did the FX Gambit's FX Master, when he took that over and he first kind of released it and I did that, it's moved a long way from when I did that video only, what was about 2 months ago, I think. God blimey, who knows, time goes so fast. And I don't want to keep redoing videos all the time. So the chances are by the time you kind of are downloading it and looking at this, he will have tweaked things and there will be something different and there'll be more functionality. So some of the modders, people like Gambit, are always continually adding new functionality to everything that they do. Other modders, they get it to where it needs to do that, and then they maintain that, and that's obviously brilliant. But just be aware, for example, if we look at, and this is again not a criticism, if you look at Ripper's levels module, it's designed for a purpose, and whenever there's updates and stuff, he makes sure very quickly that that does the job it's supposed to do. But there's not an awful lot of adding extra things on. He tends to add on, create a different module that will work with it, whether that's wall height, whether that's the multi-level fog of war thing that he did. But the levels modules itself, that's what it does. It kind of stays static. Gambit tends to keep creeping with his scope and keeps adding stuff, and he plays around and things like that. You know what I'm saying, right? Don't take this video as this is all it does, because chances are it won't in the future. And I am not suggesting that either one of those approaches is correct or wrong or anything like that, but just be aware that your different modders do it in different ways. I love the fact that Gambit, it gets excited and just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding with little tweaks, little quality of life stuff, and he really does focus on quality of life stuff. Just to be really, really fair, you can't beat Ripper's wikis. the backup material, the written instructions and stuff like that. So just make sure I'm not showing any bias in one particular direction, because I love both of them. And that's not to exclude everybody. I'm rambling, aren't I? I told you I'm getting over a cold. It's all a bit weird. So hopefully you can see how useful this is. Now, it's a Gambit one, so you know, it's easy, it's straightforward, it does what it says it does, and it's slick and very, very useful. There was those couple of bits where it didn't refresh, so I will make sure. Chances are he's going to watch this anyway, and he's probably going to send me a message saying stop rambling so much in your videos or something like that. But yeah, it's really, really slick. For those disorganized people, this is going to change your life. For those organized people, this is going to give you another way of organizing it. I particularly like the fact that I can tag resources in here and make it really easy. Even if I've got something like JB2A on, which has got tons of stuff on, and all my scenes and all my actors, I can tag them, find them really, really easily, rather than going to here and going, where's my NPCs, right, which chapter are we in? Actually, I can do it through here and I can find them, you know, that's really, really nice and easy to be able to do that, especially handouts, because I always lose handouts and can't remember where they are, and I tend to put versions of the handouts. I put a Monk's Active Tile Trigger button on the scene, so I can click that and it will show the handout to the players like that, because it saves me trying to find it. I don't need to do that anymore. I can just use this. It's going to be really, really useful for me as the DM to make my life much, much easier. Right, I'm going to shut up now. Let me know in the comments, of course, what you think. Is this going to be a game changer for you? Are you using something else so that you feel that this isn't going to be so useful for you? Be really, really interested just to get your opinions, what you're using, would you use this, etc. All of that good stuff. Of course, if you've got to this point in the video, thank you very much, and a huge shout out to all my patrons and my YouTube members who support me and make sure that we keep going. Links in the description if you want to join for either of those two, of course. Leave a like, leave a comment, and if you're not subscribed, doing so really does help out the channel. I mean, I'm going to do this anyway. But the more of you that comes along, the more it encourages me to keep going, and one day I might get some therapy for my over chatting constantly. Thank you for watching, guys. Take care, and I will see you soon in the next one.